The snowflake quilt. The big blue van hummed along the winding road, climbing higher into the mountains where the trees wore thick coats of white snow. Inside, the air was filled with the smell of tangerine peels and excitement. "Look! It's really sticking!" shouted 8-year-old Leo, pressing his nose against the cold window. "I see a deer," squealed 5-year-old Mia. Little Sam, only 2, clapped his chubby hands. "Snow! Snow!" In the back, Whiskers the ginger cat peered out from his carrier with wide, golden eyes, wondering why the world had turned so white. The cabin and the cold. They arrived at the old wooden cabin just as the sun began to dip. It was beautiful, but the driveway was buried in snow, and the cabin looked sleepy and cold. "All right, team," Dad said, clapping his gloved hands. "Operation Cozy Cabin starts now." This wasn't a chore, it was a mission. Grandpa and Dad grabbed the shovels. "You scoop, I'll toss," Grandpa laughed, showing he was still strong as an ox. Mom and Grandma carried the bags of food. Leo and Mia were in charge of the light brigade, carrying the flashlights and the box of candles. Even little Sam helped by carrying Whiskers' light bag of toys. Within an hour, the dark, cold cabin had transformed. A golden fire crackled in the hearth, pushed to life by Dad. The smell of Grandma's famous vegetable soup bubbled from the kitchen. Whiskers found the softest rug right in front of the fireplace and curled into a ginger donut. The Snow Family. The next morning, the sun sparkled on the snow like a million diamonds. "Boots on!" Mom called out. Outside, the cooperation continued. "Let's make a snow family," Mia suggested. They worked together. Grandpa showed Leo how to roll the base so it wouldn't crack. Dad lifted Sam up to place the carrot nose. Grandma wrapped her own extra scarf around the snow mother's neck. When they stepped back to look, there stood 7 snow figures, even a tiny lump of snow with pinecone ears for Whiskers. "It's perfect," Mom said, snapping a photo. "Because we built it together." The magic of memories. That evening, the wind howled outside, but inside was warm and safe. They gathered on the big patchwork quilt in the living room. Grandma opened a tin of cinnamon cookies. "You know," she said softly, looking at the fire, "this reminds me of when your grandfather and I took your mom on her first snow trip. We didn't have fancy tablets or big cars. But we had this." She pointed around the room. "Had what?" Leo asked, munching a cookie. "Each other," Grandpa smiled, reaching out to hold Grandma's hand. "And stories." Spontaneously, Mom pulled out her phone, not to check emails, but to play an old song. Dad stood up and bowed to Mom. "May I have this dance?" The kids giggled as their parents danced in their thick wool socks on the wooden floor. Little Sam wobbled over to join them, and soon, it was a big, laughing group hug, swaying to the music. Whiskers meowed from the sofa, walked over, and rubbed his head against Grandpa's ankle, purring like a little engine. The quiet realization. Later, as the children were tucked into sleeping bags, their cheeks pink from the cold and their bellies full of soup and cookies, the house fell quiet. "Dad?" Leo whispered. "Yeah, bud. I like it here. We don't just watch TV. We actually do stuff." Dad smiled in the dark. "That's the secret of winter, Leo. The cold outside makes us come closer together inside. As the family slept under one roof, surrounded by the silent, falling snow, they were warm. Not just from the fire, but from the invisible, unbreakable threads of love that wove them together, just like the patches on Grandma's quilt.